All right, with 3 minutes in, I think this is probably a good time to get started. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining from wherever you're joining. And welcome to this session on getting to know Service Operations Workspace for ITSM. I'll just go ahead and introduce myself first. I'm Sonia Gandhi. I'm a product manager with ITSM, focusing on Service Operations Workspace. I will also give Shiba a chance to introduce herself. But before we get any further, just wanted to share this safe harbor notice. You will hear some forward-looking statements. Please take them as a plan. They're not a promise, and should not be used for making purchasing decisions. All right. We do have a series of webinars planned, so please do look up the webinars that will be scheduled, and please feel free to join any further sessions. All right, just some quick housekeeping. We will have time for Q&A at the end, so please do use that time for any questions that you may have. Please feel free to enter any questions along the way in the chat window. We will be recording this session and it will be shared on the ServiceNow community. You will also receive a short survey for feedback after the event. And thank you. We appreciate your feedback. So please do send that out. All right. Shiba, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sonia. Hi, everyone. Shiba Srinivasan here. I'm also part of the IT service management, product management team, and I work with Sonia on Service Operations Workspace. Good to be here. Thank you, Sonia.
All right. Before we get started, we do want to get to know our audience a little bit. So you will be seeing some poll questions coming up. If you could just take a few seconds to answer those polls. All right, the first question, have you implemented Service Operations Workspace? Yes or no? All right, that's great. Thank you for responding. Okay, moving on to the next poll question. If you haven't already, how likely is your organization to adopt Service Operations Workspace in the next 12 months? And you can pick the option that seems most accurate to you. Okay. That's good to know. Many of you are very likely to adopt it. So this is the perfect place to be to learn more about Service Operations Workspace. All right. The next poll question here. What, if anything, is preventing you from adopting Service Operations Workspace? The fact that it is new and untested in the market. There's a resource constraint in implementing and maintaining it, insufficient training, difficulties in the implementation tools like UI Builder, any missing functionality and features, awareness, or anything else. Please feel free to let us know. All right, this is really good to know. Get this data, and thank you for responding, everyone. Okay, so with that done, and thank you so much for responding. It really helps set the context for this agenda that we have today. So getting into the agenda, we will talk a little bit about an overview on service operations and what we mean by service operations. And then we move on to the workspace itself. So what is Service Operations Workspace? What are some of the key features? We'll talk through some of those, and then there will be a live demo as well. So you'll actually get to see some of these features in action. And then, like I said earlier, we will have some time for Q&A at the end. All right, so to start off with, I just want to take a step back and try and articulate what we mean by service operations. So typically, these two paradigms in IT management, which is the operations management and service management, have existed in silos. And now we're bringing them together, consolidating them so that the data and the decisions that are made in the operations management paradigm can be brought into service management and augment the solutions that actually service the end users. So, for example, it could be a self-service virtual agent, it could be a responder working on an incident, it could be a fulfiller trying to complete a catalog request, and so on. All of those solutions could benefit by bringing in data, whether it is data from monitoring tools or predictions from predictive AI ops and so on and so forth. Bringing all of that into the service management space can help resolve, remediate incidents faster and prevent future outages. Similarly, human actions or any events that take place in the service management space can be fed back into the operations management, where infrastructure and applications have typically lived. All of the data related to infra and apps have typically lived in the operations management space, but bringing in the data from service management, whether it was a change that is implemented and how it impacts the service map, even before approving a change, what were the remediations that helped resolve an incident, what were the root causes of some of the problems, feeding all of that back into the algorithms and the environments that exist in the operations management space can again lead to fewer outages and faster restoration of service, which is the ultimate goal. So that brings us into this common area where the different personas can come in and execute their workflows and collaborate seamlessly. So as many of you may know, we have these different workspaces already. We have the ITSM agent workspace, which has typically been where a service desk agent or even an L2 incident responder may come in to work on an incident. We have the operator workspace where an IT operator may be managing their alerts. And then we have the site reliability operations workspace where an SRE persona is working. Now, the idea is to build this unified workspace where all of these different operators can come in and execute their workflows seamlessly. And then we augment that workspace with intelligent recommendations and tools for root cause analysis. We enrich it with business impact, on-call notifications, and so on. So continuing on this thread, Service Operations Workspace is essentially a unified workspace where agents and operators can come in. It has a modern look and feel, along with creating those modern and more collaborative spaces to work together for agents and operators. So everything from the data that comes in from monitoring tools to alerts to incident problem and change, and then remediating incidents, all of that can be managed from a unified workspace. Again, the ultimate goal being to reduce the number of outages, and when incidents do occur, to be able to remediate and resolve those faster. All right, so Now I'm just going to go through some of the key features that we have in Service Operations Workspace, and you'll see these in action throughout the live demo as well. So we'll start off on a landing page, which highlights the key pieces of information that an agent needs to know when they come in and start their day. So what does my work look like? What is in the queue? What does my team's queue look like? And so on and so forth. Any relevant announcements on critical items like outages or major incidents can be highlighted on this landing page as well. And there are some other quick links, upcoming tasks, etc., that can be highlighted, and we'll walk you through those in the live demo. Coming to the incident management itself, so the incident record, you'll see, has an updated view to it. There's an overview section where we highlight the impact of the incident. You'll also see that on the side panel, we have things like recommendations, on-call experts that can easily be collaborated with, and so on. And all of this is in the context of the incident, so you don't actually have to move out of your incident view. A new capability that we've added for incident management is the incident investigation piece. So we have an investigation framework where we can integrate with backend monitoring tools such as ACC and MECM. We can pull in real-time metrics from these tools. Again, it is all within the context of the incident and within the context of the CI that the agent or the incident responder is currently investigating. So we pull in these metrics, and then we also give a quick way to perform remedial actions through playbooks, and we'll walk through some of that as well. All right, Shiba, if you want to just talk about the change bit.
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. So when we released Service Operations Workspace, we first released it with incident management, interaction management, and there's a few other modules. And then the latest release that we had in Feb, which is on top of Utah, we released change management workflows. Now with that, you're able to manage your end-to-end life cycle of change request in Service Operations Workspace. And again, a few things we kept in mind. We did not want to do just a lift and shift of the change experience in the workspace. So we have made improvements on the overall workflow as well as experiences. So first things that you'll notice here is just the dynamic overview pages. And then the idea behind this is really to show you contextual information, actionable information based on the state and the stage of the change request. So that's one. And then if you go to the next slide, Sonia, or maybe just a click, you also see the improved scheduling experience. And here is where you can take a look at either the blackout windows, any kind of conflicts, maintenance windows. It also kind of shows you the next available window where you can schedule the change. And then again, we'll go through the details during the demo. I think that should be it, Sonia. Oh, two more things. So this is if you're using a workforce optimization solution. Now we also have a recommended like a learning module for your agents and for your fulfillers. So here is where you can actually assign courses to your agents, and they can almost track what they are learning, what their skill gaps are, and this just gives like a consolidator of one single place for them to not only work on their tickets, but also, improve their skills by taking up learning courses. So that's really WFO. It comes with workforce optimization. And this is a new module that is again available in SOW. It was added in Utah release. And then if you go to the next slide, Sonia. Here is a little bit of a sneak peek into what's coming in Vancouver. So this is our August release where the collaboration is again embedded. So in the first release, we did have an integration with Teams where an agent can reach out to a requester or chat with peers. to work on any task record. Starting August, we have integrated with Sidebar. Sidebar, again, is a ServiceNow chat capability that replaces Connect Chat. So you have Sidebar in Service Operations Workspace now. Also, we have integrated with Notify. So starting Vancouver and in August release, you will be able to now start a call, start a meeting from Service Operations Workspace, and all of this kind of fits into that collaborate section. I won't be demoing this today, but this feature will be available, and I don't have it on my instance today to demo. Thank you, Sonia. Were you talking on mute, Sonia?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I think with that, we're ready to jump into the live demo. So let me just go ahead and, all right. So you should be able to see my instance of Service Operations Workspace now. And I am logged in as a user with the ITIL role assigned. So this user lands up on this landing page, which is essentially a landing page that is tailored for a level 1 service desk incident responder or a service desk agent. So the agent can come in. The first thing they see on this landing page is the overview section, where they can see the incidents that are assigned to them, any unassigned incidents, catalog tasks that are assigned to them. These widgets are interactive. So as you can see, there are total 18 incidents assigned to this user. 15 are in progress. So clicking on any one section will update this list or card view of all of the incidents which are displayed here. So there is the ability to toggle between the list view and a card view. Let me go back to the list view. All right. Similarly, any unassigned incidents, clicking on any of those by priority will show up those incidents in the remaining section of this overview section. And then the catalog tasks assigned, again, are broken up by any open, pending, and so on. Clicking on any one of these segments will open up that particular subsection of catalog tasks. Clicking on this view all will essentially open up all of the incidents, either in the grid view or the list view, again, depending on the user's preference. All of these will open up here. So this is all of the work that shows up under your work. Now, this user can toggle to your team's work and get a view of what is in queue for their team. So essentially their assignment group, for example, if they're part of the service desk assignment group, these are all of the incidents assigned to their team, any incident SLAs, any unassigned incidents, again, catalog tasks assigned to your team. So the idea here is that any particular team member can get visibility into all of the work that is lined up for their team, in addition to their own work. On the side panel here, you can see there is an announcement section up top. This is where any critical items such as major incidents, any outages that are ongoing can be highlighted over here. And the data source for this is configurable. So as you can see right now, we're seeing major incidents. This can also be configured to show outages or any other records that need to be displayed in the announcement section. There is the upcoming section here. So any tasks that are due today can be highlighted here. Anything that's due tomorrow, similarly, can be highlighted here. These are just quick links. So any URL can be added just for a quick reference. And then these just display what are the most recently viewed items within this workspace. Now, if the WFO plugin is enabled, then some of the key KPIs that are assigned to this team, which is in this case a service desk team, would be highlighted here. Any learning that is assigned to this particular user would also be displayed here. I just wanted to point out that these widgets are also customizable. So if you'd like to pull in another source of data into one of these widgets, that is possible as well. All right. Now with that, I think I'll jump right into an incident. So I'm going to pick up an incident that has already been created, just in the interest of time. Now in the incident record, you'll see we have an overview section, which essentially consists of a summary, which we have populated it with the short description. Then there's the impact section, where we have the affected CIs, the number of affected CIs, along with the actual affected CIs listed down below. Any impacted services, any assets that are being impacted by this particular incident would be highlighted here as well. And then there is the ability to add more affected CIs from here. If I go to impacted services, right now there's nothing been added, but again, more can be added. And similarly for assets as well. All right, and then right at the bottom, we have the cause and the resolution sections. Right in the middle, we have the activity stream, and then we have the ability to add any comments or work notes right up top. Coming to the side panel. So the first tab on the side panel is the recommendations. So we do provide contextual recommendations, and we have these AI ML algorithms that are running at the back end. And there are two places where these algorithms kick in. So one is on the details tab of the incident itself. There are field level recommendations, and these are based on the classification algorithms. And there's a confidence threshold that can be set. And if the recommendation meets or exceeds that threshold, it can be auto-populated. Of course, the user can choose to override the recommendation. So that's one place where the AI ML algorithms provide recommendations, and then the other place is on the side panel. So as you can see here, we have similar resolved incidents that show up in this list. Now, we do have other recommendations that show up here as well, depending on the data that's available. So it could be similar open incidents. We also have trend detection algorithms. So for example, if there have been 65 similar incidents reported in the last 2 hours, that's likely a major incident. And then the recommendation could be to propose a major incident. So we have that capability as well. We also have the record information. So this is essentially the origin, who's the caller, who is it currently assigned to. There's a quick action to reassign to another user if needed. There's a quick action to be able to contact the caller. So clicking on that contact gives this drill down experience where this caller can be emailed or a Teams chat can be started right from here. We have the agent assist as well on the contextual side panel. And this is typically wired up to show knowledge articles and such. So this is a contextual search at the backend that runs for agent assist. We can also show the experts on call in the side panel. Again, this is recommended based on the assignment group that is relevant for this particular incident. We would show the relevant experts on call, and then the ability to contact them either through Teams or email or any other communication channel that has been set up. There is a separate tab for collaborate as well. And this is currently supporting a Teams chat or for example, if there was Slack, that could be supported here as well. But this is the part that Shiva was mentioning is being upgraded, and a new version is coming out soon. So we will cover that in one of the future sessions in detail. All right. Now moving on to the investigation tab. So the investigation tab, just to give a little bit of context, we have an investigation framework that sits behind this investigation UI. And the investigation framework can integrate with monitoring tools. For example, out of the box, we've integrated with Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, previously known as SCCM. We also integrate with the monitoring tool out of ServiceNow ITOM, which is Agent Client Collector, or ACC. So those are the two integrations that we support out of the box, but it is an extensible framework. So if you have other monitoring tools in your environment, you could integrate those with the investigation framework. Now, once we have that integration in place, we can essentially pull in for CI. So I'm going to start off with this dropdown where you can see it with this incident showing up here. Now, one thing to note is that only the CIs that are of type CI computer or CI server are the ones that are currently supported for investigation. So any CIs that fall under those categories will show up here and can be investigated. This information that you see in the first container here is just some basic information about this CI, which we pull from the CMDB. So the name, the model ID, serial number, operating system. Other than that, everything else that you see all of on this screen, all of this is pulled from either ACC or MECM. So these are just some of the basic metrics that we support out of the box. Again, this can be customized, so you can have your own metrics displayed over here. So the ones that we pull out of the box are memory utilization, disk utilization, CPU utilization, uptime, the top processes by CPU. So these are the top 5 processes by CPU consumption. These are the top 5 processes by memory consumption. The services on this CI, any installed applications, logged in users. All right. Now, we do have an initial metrics tab as well. So these are the metrics that were pulled at the time of incident creation. We do have the metric collection rules, which need to be enabled. And if enabled, anytime an incident is created, and assuming that the CI is stamped on the incident within a particular time window, we'll trigger off the queries to either ACC or MECM, whichever tool is integrated, and we'll get these metrics at the time of incident creation. We retain these snapshots. So if you see, all of these metrics have a timestamp associated with them. So if an incident responder needs to look at, okay, what did these metrics look like when the incident first came in compared to what are the most recent metrics, they can do that comparison. We also have the ability to get the metrics, latest metrics on demand. So clicking on this will trigger off the queries to the backend monitoring tool and then refresh these metrics. I'll hit that off in a second, but before I do that, because that takes a few seconds, I'll just walk through some of the other capabilities as well over here. We also have a view history. And in this history view, it's loading a little bit slowly, but essentially we have a graph, a scatter graph of all of the metrics, all the snapshots that were fetched by manual trigger. So here you can see the scatter graph. And on this graph, we essentially show the CPU memory and disk utilization. We have this time range selector as well. So if I wanted to go to the last few hours or the last 7 days and view those metrics, I could do that. Now, clicking on any one of these will essentially open up the entire metric snapshot. So all of the metrics that were captured at that particular timestamp will show up over here. So we do retain all of these timestamps for reference, comparison, and so on and so forth. That's in the view history. I will show you the remedial actions capability next. All right, so again, these remedial actions are just two remedial actions which are meant to be sort of like reference examples, a starter kit for customers to get started with. We fully expect that you will have your own remedial actions and your own processes to execute those remedial actions. And so that is customizable. So right now we have end process and restart service available out of the box. So I can select any process over here. As you can see, the end process action is placed right next to the top processes by CPU. We have, again, end process next to the top processes by memory so that you can select one and trigger off the end process. We have restart service close to all of the services. So you can select one and kick off a restart service. And I'll show you what happens when we do that. So I've selected this one service and I'm going to hit restart service. Now, just wanted to point out again that this is a server CI type. So we do have a slight difference in the playbooks. The first step of a playbook for a server is essentially to create a change request. Now, as soon as I hit this, as you can see, a new playbook got added to the side panel. So I'm going to go into the playbook side panel. And hopefully this comes up. Let me just refresh and see if that shows up there. Okay, I'm going to try that again. And the instance is a little bit slow today, so please bear with us. Right, let's try that again. Otherwise, in the interest of time, I will show you a remedial action that we executed earlier today. So I'm going to start the restart service again. All right, as you can see here, in this container, which shows the remedial actions, a new remedial action got added. And that same remedial action will show up on the side panel as well in the playbook tab. Just taking a while to load. Okay, let me see if I have better luck with another CI. Okay, so there it shows up. I'm going to go back to the server CI. All right, so you can see we have a new remedial action for restart service on the server. I go into that, and the first step is to create a change request. And we've created a mini form here, but essentially this is using the same change management capabilities that already exist, and which Shiva will also walk you through in a second. So this will go ahead and create a change request. And as soon as that change request goes into implementation stage, again, this is a standard change model that we've used here. we fully expect customers to customize this. I can schedule this change from here. As soon as it goes into implementation, it's going to go ahead and actually perform this restart service on this server. And once it is completed, it'll show up as completed. As you can see, just a little while ago, we did a restart service on a server. And then the last thing that I want to show you here is for an end user device, the playbook is slightly different. The only difference is that I'm just going to show you that from the history. The only difference is that the first step is to get user approval. Whereas for a server, the first step is to create a change request. I think, Shiva, we have only 20 minutes left, so I don't want to give you enough time to walk through change. Do you want to take over at this point to walk through some of the change capabilities?
I can, yeah, let's just do that.
Okay.
Okay. So I will walk you through the change release that comes out that is already released. It's on UDA, and I'm logged in here as Beth. She's part of the hardware group. And as you can see, now with that clicking on that plus sign, you can create an interaction incident and a change request. So I'm going to go ahead and create a change request. So as soon as you click on that, it takes you to like a landing page where you can see all kinds of changes. So these are your normal, your change workflows, different workflows that you have, whether it's normal, standard, emergency. Additionally, if you are using our change models, you can see them here as well. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and select the normal change, and let's just go through that submission process. And given that, we have like 10 minutes for the demo, I'm just going to keep it a little bit short and kind of walk you through like few states and tell you what it looks like. So here, as soon as I come here, I'm Beth. I want to create a change request, and you can see that the form is like at this point, really, really simple. Let's say I do want to do a test change on one of the, I'm forgetting the CI. I'm just going to pull up the CI name and then update it. So let's just put that change description here. And I save that. And then as soon as I save it, you'll see that it showed me additional information that I do need to fill in. So the first things that I do have to do is just, define the scope. And here is where I want to select the CI name. So that's the Windows server that I want to make a change on. I'm just going to go and update it here as well. So I can go back, update that information, save it right away. And here, I pulled in the configuration item, and you'll see as soon as I clicked on that, the refresh impacted services is now available to me. So clicking on that, the refresh of the impacted services has been in, it's running async. So you will see that getting filled out. Now, in the meanwhile, while it's doing that, here it is. So you see the services that are impacted, and if you click on it, it'll show you all the impacted services. Basically shows you a list view of all the services that are impacted. So I can click on it again to hide it. Now, there are a few actions that you do have to do. Now, if you were using the concept of, team success score, right? So the change has to be assigned to a team so that it shows you, the team success score. So I'm just go ahead and I'll pick the hardware group here. Let's just go ahead and assign that. So I've assigned it to a group. I've not assigned it to a particular user yet. And now to continue with my change, I obviously need to do my risk assessments, set the schedule as well. So I'm going to set the schedule first. And here is where you can see the scheduling experience, right? So right now, as you can see that it pulled up the calendar and, today's date and time where I am. And let's say I do want to go and schedule this change for tomorrow. Let's just say 20. And that will be my end date and time. I'm just going to say 30 here. Let's say it's a 30 minutes long change. Schedule it. Okay, so as soon as I clicked on schedule, you can see here that it's showing me all the conflicts. So the first things it showed me here is the blackout window. And if you click on that, span, you will be able to see what this is. It is a blackout window and it applies to, one or more CIs. And then you can also see that there is a similar change that is scheduled, and that change is actually here, which is not a conflict. So it is not a conflict. It just tells me that, hey, there is a similar change that is scheduled on the same CI. So, and it also tells me that, there is a maintenance window that I can use. That's what I did here. So let's say you do want to schedule another change. I'm going to go ahead, because there are no conflicts, it's out of the blackout window. I do want to get the change now, done now. So I'm going to just go ahead and schedule it. Or it gives me an option for the next conflict-free window as well. I can do that as well. So if you click on that, and I just want to show you this as an example, if you have to click on the next best available window that is available, all you have to do is schedule, and it's going to go ahead and schedule that change for next available slot here. So once that is done, I'm going to go back and come back here. So you can see the change is now scheduled. If you do want to kind of change the schedule itself, you can go back and again select like a new start and an end date, and you can go through the whole scheduling process one more time. Now, here, so far, we have not done any risk assessment. So let's just go ahead and assess the risk. In this particular instance, I do have the risk assessment enabled. There are questions that have been, kind of set up. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it like a high risk change. Okay, so there are a few things that, shows up here as soon as you filled everything else out, right? So you have your risk that is visible now, and then you also have the change success score. So risk is calculated based on all of that. So that information, you have it available. We did assign it to a group. Now at this point, if you do want to add tasks, you're able to do that as well. So let me just go ahead and add like a planning task for this. And this is pretty simple. I'm just going to say planning task. Assign it to the same group. And let's just save it. What did I miss? Okay. Okay, so this is really just filling out the change. You have all the necessary information for you to go and now submit this change request. Now, if you, for whatever reason, if you don't want to go through the guided experience of filling out the change, you still have the details. You can go through and, fill out the change that way as well. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and request approval. And I want to show you what the screen looks like after that. So here, you can see that I requested approval. Right here, you have the progress stepper. So this is kind of gives you an indication, like depending on the change model or the change workflow, how many states the change is going to go through, right? So this was a normal change. We have all the stages that the change will go through. So right now it's an assess phase. And let's go take a look at who are one of the assessors, and I'll go and kind of quickly, approve the change request. So in this case, David, Dan, these are all the team members who can go review the change and assess it. So I'm here logged in as David. Let's just pull the change number. Copy it from here, 846. So this is the one that I was taking a look at. And I'm just going to I'm going to show you one more state change. The next one is not going to make much of a difference, but it just gives you an idea of how the overview page is contextual based on, where you are in the life cycle of the change request. So while it's loading here. So you can see, here right now, because the change is in approved state or approval state, the first section that you see is to make an approval decision. And then if you do want to, reach out to the requester, ask them more questions, you can, ask them right here. So let's make that approval decision. I'm just going to go ahead and approve that change. And I will have to reload the page here because I didn't make a change on this page. Let's say I happen to come back to the change request and take a look at it. This will now automatically go to the approved state or authorized state, right? Now, that's really the concept. I know we have like a minute left, and I do want to kind of keep some time open for Q&A. So that's really the concept, is the overview page and the information displayed here on the record information kind of changes based on where you are in the life cycle of the change. And then there are contextual actions available throughout so that you can, just take the necessary action. For example, in this case, I know that the ticket was not really assigned to a user, so I can go back, and just kind of assign the ticket to a user right there. I don't necessarily have to always go to the actions here or always go to, related records and change tasks and do all of that. That's really a very, very high level overview of change management. I know we're going to have follow-up sessions where we will do a deep dive of each topic. So we hope to, again, talk to you in those sessions. With that, I do want to, Sonia, anything else for us to cover?
No, I think that's it. I think we're good to move on to questions.
Question and answers, right? Yeah. Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to go ahead and see. I did answer a few questions. So there is a question from Adrian. Can risk assessment be customized, establishing thresholds? Yes, currently, you do define kind of thresholds to say, how the risk assessment is kind of scored and what kind of risk it derives. That is definitely one way of doing it. But Greg, who was the PM on change management, he has done a lot of work, and the direction that we do want to move towards is calculating risk based on data rather than just the risk assessment or the risk calculation. So if you are interested, we are actually also doing like a change launch and learn sessions where we do a deep dive into all of these, change related topics. If you're interested, I can definitely get back to you, with the link. And then those sessions are also recorded, so we can share more on what we are thinking about risk, particularly in relationship to change. I have a question from Deb. So I see the schedule section is using a 24-hour clock in your demo. We see AM, PM, which is not working correctly. Is this the time formatting? We are on Utah. That's a good question. I will definitely have to follow up, Deb, and get back to you on that. I don't think I have changed any settings on this instance, so we'll definitely have to find out what is going on there. The next question that we have is, how can we implement Operator Workspace into this new view? Can we customize the homepage to see application services like in the Operator Workspace? Yes. So the good news is that Service Operations Workspace it works out of the box for both your service management personas as well as the operator persona. So there is a store app that you can download, which is Service Operations Workspace for ITOM. And as soon as you download that, you will see all your ITOM modules here. And in fact, the landing page, we have like a dedicated landing page that we created for the ITOM persona as well. So all you have to do is download the Service Operations Workspace for ITOM, and you'll be able to see the Operator Workspace in the same view. The look and feel, again, is very, very similar. Another question from Timothy, landing page, is it based on role? So yes and no. So landing pages you can definitely have landing page based on role. as an example, the operator persona has like an operator role. So we have like a dedicated landing page for operator persona. Now, when it comes to ITIL, though, we have just one role, ITIL. So we are using the concept of audience to differentiate between, if you're like a service desk agent, at least that's what we did out of the box. If you're a service desk agent, you see the service desk landing page. But if you're, let's say, part of a tier 2, tier 3, groups, you might have other, widgets that you might want to see, like a change request or change tasks. So we use the concept of audience to differentiate between, where the users are routed. Marcus, you are interested in the deep dive sessions for change management. I'll work with Aisha to figure out how do we, get the information out to you. But we do have change, launch, and learn sessions that are going on, started in sometime in June, and we have them going on until September. So our next session is planned for August. We'll figure out a way to get you the information. Thank you. Okay, Deb, we'll do that as well. Copy that. We'll send you the information. Did I miss any questions? Miss any questions? Albert, I am actually checking for you to say, like, if you do have to enable workforce optimization for ITSM for coaching. And again, we'll get back to you on that question as well. Timothy, great question. Is this meant to replace major incident workbench? Sonia, do you want to take that one, please?
Yeah, sure. So, Timothy, we are in the process of building the major incident management experience in Service Operations Workspace. So you will see that coming out in the Washington timeframe, hopefully by early next year. You will be able to do major incident management within Service Operations Workspace. So what you saw today was for incident management in general. We will have a major incident management experience separately as well in Service Operations Workspace.
So I think the next one is also for Investigate tab.
All right, how do we activate Investigate tab? Automatically added once we upgrade. So the Investigate tab, you do need to install the applications, again, available as a download from ServiceNow Store. So we have an app for ECC, which is basically investigations with agent client collector and investigations with Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. Those are the two apps. You need to install one of those, and then that will then install a series of other applications that are needed. So you will need to do that installation separately and set up for that as well.
Thank you, Sonia. I'll stop share so that you can bring up these slides again.
Sure.
We do have four minutes left, so if you do have any other questions, please feel free to add them in the Q&A section.
Yeah, I think this basically brings us to the end of the session with this slide.
Okay, I don't see any other question and answers. New questions in the Q&A section. So thank you so much again for taking the time and joining us today for the Service Operations Workspace webinar. We do have, there's one last question. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. So we do have follow-up sessions that are planned for deep dive discussions in Service Operations Workspace. Sonia, do you have the next one? Do you know the one that is coming up next?
Yes, so the next one is going to be focusing on incidents and collaborations. So we'll go deeper into everything that you saw on incident management today, and we'll also talk about the new collaboration capabilities that we're coming out with. So hopefully that should be helpful topics for you to attend as well.
Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah, and I don't think we've finalized a date for that yet, but that's going to be sometime mid-August. So we'll figure out how to share that information.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining. And there is a survey as well that you can actually fill out. Thank you again.